Hello everyone, it's Ashwin Rao, and today I'm bringing you a boot preview of a new Pacific Northwest boot that I recently acquired from Thst Boots. So for those of you who don't know, Thst is one of the original founding members of the Pacific Northwest bootmaking scene, along with White's, JK, Frank's, Wesco, and also Viberg, if you want to throw them into the mix of a regional bootmaker making more rugged construction. These are purpose-built boots. And while Thst has been marketing more and more to a heritage style enthusiast, this model, the Urban Logget, was really designed and built, or should I say overbuilt, to represent the highest quality of Pacific Northwest bootmaking, really aimed at people who are out in the field doing logging work in this instance, and built in a manner to address those types of conditions that somebody in that specific workspace would be working in. So here is an 8-inch tall work style boot. It's a derby boot, meaning that it has an open channel lacing system. You see 4 eyelets followed by 5 speed hooks, and then an additional eyelet here. You see this double row stitch down construction that's actually quite nicely done. Thst has elevated their game in recent years, and you can see that that stitching goes to about the 270-degree mark on the shoe. Well done. If you flip the boot over, you will see that the sole construction is reinforced by the placement of a number of screws here. That's something you don't always see in other more casual makeups. The heel block is nailed on, and this is a commando style honey lug sole from Vibram with the double row stitch down, echoing the stitching on the outsole here. So stitch down construction. This is a really rugged Wicked and Craig style leather. If we come up close, we can see that this double row stitch down doesn't have the same quite stitch density as some of the makers you would see, such as Viberg, but this is an entirely functional construction which lends itself to some waterproofing. And you can see that despite the rugged build, there's still quite a bit of precision work done to construct a really well-lasted, well-built boot that is essentially designed to last a lifetime. This rugged 7 to 8 ounce upper leather, which is a really thick leather, it's going to be a little bit stiffer in terms of its temper. It's going to have a little bit more weight and heft to it. This is a heavy boot, and that aesthetic is complemented by this rugged sole. The lug sole is specifically helpful in areas where you need traction, such as in slippery alpine wilderness. Now, for the average enthusiast, this type of sole will track in more dirt and grit because it's going to get stuck between these lugs here and track in. So this is really a boot that's probably meant to be left outside, brushed off, and then gone back to the workplace. But beautiful construction. This is built on their 55 last, which is a round-toed, slightly asymmetric last that you can see here, that is a bit more narrow than I think what many people would consider comfortable for a standard size last. So I am fine in this particular construction. This is a semi-structured toe, so I can adapt a little bit, and the leather can stretch. But imagine if you have a steel reinforced toe, that's not going to give, or even a Celastic toe, that's going to provide a little bit more of a cramped foot space. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about Thst. Just so you know, sizing wise, I take a half size down from my Brannock size for my Pacific Northwest boot sizing for the most part. So I'm a Brannock 10. This is a 9.5. I would say that if you want a comfortable spread out toe box, maybe go up to a 9.5E versus a standard D width, which is their default width. Rawhide laces here that go all the way up, and a few less speed hooks and eyelets than the typical shoe of this height. I was always surprised at 4 eyelets and these 5 speed hooks, meaning that you have to really be good at latching these boots on using speed hooks, but taking them off becomes a really easy task, and these rawhide laces complement this particular makeup quite well. See that the shaft on this shoe is fairly narrow, and that we do have a pull tab at the top. We have a raw cut leather collar. You can get a folded leather collar as well if you wish something slightly different. The folded means that the leather is rolled over, so you have more of this smooth side rather than this rough side exposed along the top here. We have a fully gusseted tongue here, so that's another factor you're gonna have. This boot won't open up all the way, but this tongue will allow the shoe collar to expand when you're deciding to put your shoe on. So Nick's Urban Logger. The Logger tends to have a higher heel, pretty substantial 1 3/4 or so heel. You can see the stacked leather heel block and this flared out heel block construction, which lends itself to a little bit more support when you're dealing with substantial heel blocks such as this. This is a shoe that you're gonna have to get used to if you're coming from the world of more style-driven heritage shoes, but yet this is one of the shoes that inspires many of the other brands to create this rugged look. So Nick's Urban Logger, give these guys a look. You can get them in a 5-inch, 6-inch, 7-inch, or 8-inch height, or probably whatever makeup you wish to seek if you want it. And I highly recommend this to those in the workwear community. These boots are gonna last forever, be easily resolable with a sole that's gonna last quite a long time in that environment. Have a good one. Bye-bye.